Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to do a little sleuthing. We're going to look at the old Petite Aquarelle watercolor from Sennelier versus the new Petite Aquarelle watercolor from Sennelier. So I reviewed the old version several years ago. Let's see, which is my older one? The cases are the same. So that's the new one. This is the older one. It was a set of 24. And I really like this paint. I thought it worked really well. These are my swatches from the Petite Aquarelle watercolor. And this is my swatch from my professional Sennelier watercolor. Now, as you can see, this the Petite Aquarelle was very vibrant. It really rivaled what I could get with the professional grade Sennelier, and I was thrilled with it. I thought this is great. I love it when a company comes out with a less expensive student grade line of paints for people to get into it, and then if they love it, they can replace any color they use up with their artist's grade counterpart. So I recommended this, 100% loved it. But over the last year or so, I've heard reports that the paint has changed and it's not as good. So on Prime Day, I saw they had a set of 36 out now, and I saw it was like $38. And I decided to bite the bullet and order them. Then I could see what the other colors were as well. So this is what I ordered. It came with this wrapped around it and then just shrink wrap plastic. So it wasn't in a box. It was in a sleeve, but it was from California Art Supply, I think was the seller. And it's sold out again at the time of recording, but maybe it will be back in. I did see it pop up on Amazon a couple months ago, and I didn't order it, and then I kind of regretted it because then it was sold out and gone again. But I thought I would give this a try. That way I can kill two birds with one stone. I can compare the quality to the old version to the new version, and then I can see what the new colors there are. Now, when this arrived, which if you saw my my video where I said what reviews do you want to see next, and I was unboxing all the stuff I had to review, all of the pans were just a jumble. So I don't know if I have them in the same order as what is on the box or what is in the previous set, but I want to try to, I'm just going to start swatching them, and we're going to see how they compare. I'm going to do one then the other. Does that make sense? I think that'll work out pretty well. So I've just got some pretty inexpensive watercolor paper here. What I'm trying to do is seeing if I have the right colors in the right place, first of all. So this is the new one here. Oh, that's a pretty color. And I'm just going to compare it with what I have here. I just want to make sure I've got... That looks more like a Prussian blue, so maybe I had that in the wrong place. What does it say? That should be turquoise there. Yeah, their listing here is in a different order. I just want to keep them somewhat the same because that looks almost identical to that. Just because I want it to be comparable. Yeah, that seems like the same color. I'm just going to see if there's any other ones that look like they might be off. Not off, I mean, you can have your paints in whatever arrangement you like. Ooh, that's a kind of a pretty color. What I'm noticing though is my older paints have this beautiful glossy texture to them. And I'm just wondering, seems like I have... What about these colors? Oops, I didn't clean my brush. I just want to see if I've got them in the same place because they were a jumble. Try that one. Yep, those seem to be the same. Yeah, I think I'm all right. I think these are good. Okay, so I'll start with a fresh piece of paper. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna swatch them side by side. Oh, get ready for some riveting footage here, friends. Let's take a marker. Oh my, that's hard to get that off. Let's do two lines, and I'll do one line in the middle for that middle row that I only have from one brand, or from one, like from the new version. I'll do two lines down here. Give that a second to dry. These are the Ohuhu wide markers. I really like those. I need to do a demo with them. And then what I'm going to do is I will write, let me switch these around, and I'll do the old first. Old top, new middle, old bottom. And I'm just writing old bottom and new bottom. And we're going to start swatching. And this might be completely boring, but I just want to kind of give you some commentary as we go along. I'm going to hit this real quick with the heat tool just to make sure that top row is dry. There'll be plenty of time for the other ones to dry as we're swatching. All right, you know what? I think I'll switch to a flat brush too, because it's just a little bit easier to put a good swatch with flat. So I'm not expecting much from the white. And again, this is the old white. I really, really liked this paint. So let's give it a good swatch there. It is kind of resisting on the line, so that line might not be as useful as we want it to be. I'm concerned with how dry the new ones look. I didn't pre-activate any of these, but the oh, that seems to be just as seems to be a little bit more opaque than that. I didn't pre-activate anything. But these have been sitting in my basement for, you know, since I bought them. So beautiful lemon yellow. I hope these are as good. I never like to see, this has some dust on it. I'm hoping it doesn't tint the paint at all. Looks good to me. Oh, I was worried. I'm wondering if they changed the binder at all though, because of how glossy. Like, their professional paints have honey in them. Oh, that's pretty. And there's the new one. I can get a little more water on there. I feel like, boy, like so far so good. Now, of course, you could pre-spray your paint and, you know, really get a super juicy wash going, but it's very humid in Maine right now. I don't think that's necessary. I'm finding the color payout to be identical and the color to be identical so far. And I mean, there is a chance that I have some color in the wrong order because of where they fell out of the pans, but I think we'll be able to figure out pretty quickly if that's the case. And if I'm scrubbing these a little bit more, it's because they were appearing very dry and they came in the mail like that. Now this one almost looks like it would be a little bit darker. I'm wondering if there's more honey or more binder in the old version. When we see them dry, we might see a different bit of sheen. Nice and transparent. I'm really liking that. Colors are great though. When a company adds honey to watercolor, it's not a binder, it's a humectant, which, this is the new one, I got this new one down here. It's a humectant, which means it draws moisture out of the air and retains it into the paint pan so it doesn't get dry and doesn't crack and fall out. Like, you know how gouache will, and some, like, if you get like a budget tube set and that color does look maybe a little bit cooler than that one, but we'll see when it dries. And maybe I mixed something up. I mean, that's possible. So sometimes that looks like that might be dirty. I gotta clean that surface off. But I know a lot of people like to avoid paints like that with honey because they don't get really solid. I have to be really careful when I use M. Graham in my travel palette because of that. Now see, that one looks like it wants to be chalky, like when I add water to it, it looks like it's kind of like lighter on the surface where the water is. So it'll be interesting to see if these dry down any duller. Because when I looked at the surface of these, I'm like, oh, these do not look the same. So what they did with the new palette is they added half pans to the center. So this center is still just a row. It's the same palette as this, and I was putting half pans in there before, you know, if I had extra pans, I didn't have a place to store them, and that worked out really well. So They're making use of that palette. I wonder if they're going to sell the extra colors open stock. This looks very much like the Winsor Newton Mauve too, the Cotton Mauve, which is such a pretty color and such a strong color. Or like a phthalo violet or quinacridone violet. So far, I'm not unhappy with this. Ooh, maybe not that crazy about that though. So let's add some water to that. Maybe these will get kind of gooey and glossy like that once they're in my care for a little bit. Those two maybe seem a little bit different, but gosh, it'd be hard to tell. Because obviously, I could go back and look at that video. I probably should go back and look at my video and see what they looked like when they came fresh. I don't know if I filmed unboxing them. I don't always film the unboxing, and I don't think I used to. These two colors are different. If we look at this, that's kind of like a cerulean blue. This one looks more like periwinkle. So those two seem to be a little bit different. Unless I'm missing something. I don't see another blue that looks like it would be about like that. I'm not too concerned with that because even like colored pencil companies sometimes will have a different version. Now that is definitely like a turquoise. Let's see. Yep, those look about the same. All right, so now I'm just going to swatch the middle row that's in the new paint. Oops, I got some stuff on there. Did I splash that? I guess I did. I think we're good. So I kind of wonder, why did they add these extra colors to the line? Because some of these are looking very similar. Like that's kind of in between those two. Pretty easy to mix. Especially for a beginner, you probably want to be mixing. That's gorgeous. Ooh. I like that. I like that a lot. That's a beautiful red. It's almost like a naphtha crimson. I'm going to see... Is there... there's light fast information on the wrap, but I don't see any... I don't see any pigment information. So it looks like maybe this was supposed to go like that, just like a loose sleeve. So I'm going to have to look up, see if I can find any information, any light fast information. But I'm saying so far so good. I was like really worried when people were saying that the new versions of the paint weren't as good. And I figure if it's 36 set, it's going to be the newest of the versions you can get. What's this one? I saw they added Caput Mortuum. Oh! That's almost like a Pearland Maroon or Caput Mortuum. Caput Mortuum. Do you say Mortuum or Mortuum? And I think this is a nice, ooh, that's a very opaque, is that an English red? Let me see, what are we saying here? I don't know what this one is. I think I might have mixed them up. English Venetian red, I think. Maybe? Or maybe that's Venetian red, because that's where the Venetian red was. This looks like a chrome oxide green, so I'm probably not going to be too excited about this color. Oh, actually. Oh, it's more translucent than the chrome oxide green. What are they calling it? I don't know, because I don't think I have things in the... Well, they say they have a sap green. Oh, it could be a sap green. It's kind of a dull sap green. We're going to have to scooch up in a minute here. Why don't I just slide everything up right now? For now, anyway. We'll have to zoom out in a bit. Is this a hooker's green? Yep, this is a hooker's green here. I love Sennelier's olive green. That looks like a bamboo green or a phthalo green yellow shade to me. But if you mix them together, you get a pretty lively green. I believe this one is their Yellow Lake, which is kind of like a green gold. That's actually quite lovely. That would be nice in mixes. Oh, I hope these don't dry chalky because I think I'm going to love these. I really think I'm going to love these. Why do I get such a thrill? Oh, Prussian blue. Look at that. It's a gorgeous Prussian blue. I don't know why I get such a kick out of, like, I feel like I have every watercolor under the sun, but I get a kick out of budget watercolors that perform well. Ooh, got a nice violet here. Looks like a dioxazine purple. Yeah, maybe these paints just need to be in a main basement for a couple of years and they'll be all glossy and gooey. What do we got here? Oh no, what is this? That's lovely. What are they calling that color? They've got a Prussian blue and they've got an Indothrone blue. Indothrone blue in a budget set. That's got to be their Indothrone blue and that's got to be their Prussian blue. This is a stunning Prussian blue. I bet that's their Indothrone. PB60. I'm going to have to see if I can find pigment information because look at that, and we get some granulation happening. It doesn't look like the gross chalky kind. Oh, guys, I think I'm loving this. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. All right, so what I'm going to do is just kind of scooch everything forward just a little bit. It's mostly important that we see those bottom 2 rows. I want you to be able to see them nice and big, too. And I got to keep them laid out the way I have them or I'm going to get confused. Okay. I'll move my water over here. As you can see, though, my rinse water is getting a little bit murky, you know, so, but we did start off with white. We started off swatching the white, so I think that's probably part of it. So we're going in with our old. Another gorgeous phthalo blue. Get our new. Beautiful phthalo blue again. I'm almost thinking maybe the texture is a little bit different between the two, but very, very close. That's why I wanted to re-swatch everything, because I wanted to do it on the same paper so I can really look at it. I tend to do my swatches on cellulose paper. I use Fabriano Studio or a very similar paper to that because I feel like it's also kind of like very similar what you would come across as a beginner. Okay, there we got a phthalo green, which is a color you'll rarely use on your own. You're gonna, unless you're doing like a candy or a popsicle or something like that, you're probably gonna be mixing it. And again, I want to reiterate, if I'm working the new set a little bit more, it's just because it's drier. I'd say that's a pretty close match. Then we got kind of like a permanent green light here, or a May green. I'm glad I got these. No buyer's remorse yet. Of course, I haven't done a painting with them. I think I'm gonna use them I'll use these for today's World Watercolor Month. Very nice. I actually think that one might even be a little stronger. So I'll have like a painting right off and I can get this tutorial going out. We got this color here. I think this is the forest green. Oh, I didn't need to activate it that much. That's very strong. And people always say, Lindsay, what paint do you recommend? And I've got to say, that's gorgeous. You've got to look at what you have local. If you live in Germany, you're probably going to have a better price on Schminke paints or Lucas paints. If you live in England, you're probably going to have a better price on Winsor & Newton. If you live in America, you can get Da Vinci or Daniel Smith at a lower price. I would say go with what is local to you first. That's gorgeous. What are they calling that? Is that their olive green? I bet it's their olive green. Yes, it's their olive green. It's such a pretty color. I love it. Oh yeah, because I tried that olive green and I bought the professional olive green because I love that so much, because the set that I bought in the professional line didn't have olive green. Yeah, look and see what, see, that's gorgeous. Look and see, maybe a little bit more yellow than the previous olive green, but it's still gorgeous. I would definitely look and see what is local to you and go from there, because there's no point. If I say my favorite paint is M. Graham and you live in France and you're like, oh, I better buy that paint, but you can buy Sennelier for like a fourth of the price. No, get the Sennelier for a fourth of the price. It's not going to be that much better or that much different. Every paint has its own personality, but it's so personal. It's so, you know, one person's gonna like one thing, somebody else is gonna like something else. I would definitely say buy local. Plus, you know, if you're buying it local, then you're gonna save some money. You're gonna save taxes. You're gonna save import fees, and you're gonna be. Oh shoot! I did the wrong one. That should have been on the bottom. Oh goodness. Well, I'll just make a little arrow. Oop. I'll do a little. But you know what I mean. Oh, now my swatcher's getting bigger all of a sudden. I need to rein it in a little bit. Ooh, that one's kind of weak in the old version. And it's about the same in the new one. Let's get that a little bit wetter. The new one almost seems a little bit pinkier. What is that color? Burnt sienna. You know what? I also find that European burnt sienna, like Sennelier and Winsor Newton particularly, have kind of a weak. And also I find that like the White Knight's burnt sienna, all their earth tones in general tend to be a little bit more weak. All right, so now we've got this should be Venetian red, but we shall see. Well, that's very opaque. It's kind of similar to that, but it's a more red. And then we're going to do, again, gorgeous, great match. This is probably a burnt umber. Oh, it might be a sepia. I'm not that impressed. That's probably why that pan is so full. Yeah, those are both kind of weak. This one is, the new one is more yellow, the old one is more brown. I'm wondering if maybe I should try to get a little bit, I get a little more concentration. I guess it's a little bit browner, but those two do not seem to be the same, although, did I mess up and, I was going to see, is that one close to that? But it's really not. That one's way more opaque. I was just going to see if I kind of put something in the wrong order. Okay, then we've got, I'm actually just going to dab a little bit of water on those last two colors, just because they look so dry. We've got, I believe, a Payne's Gray here. Or it could be Payne's Gray or an indigo. What are they calling it? Payne's Gray. And the new version is less blue for sure. Bleeding together. I think I'll probably swatch them. I have a feeling that I'm going to run out of space here. So let's do the old Payne's Gray. Yeah, the old Payne's Gray and new Payne's Gray look different. The new one is much more gray, the old one is much more indigo. And then we've got black. Kind of a warm black, probably because you have the cool gray. I'm also going to just do that one right here to make sure I have enough. I think I like the new one better. Yeah, the new one seems to be a little bit more powerful. Well, I didn't pre-wet the old one, and I probably should have because I rarely ever use black, but so far, so good. I think they're looking equivalent, but I'm going to do a painting with the new ones. We're going to see how they handle, and then when we come back, I'll have my final thoughts on this, plus I'll have a chance for my swatches to fully dry, so that we'll be able to see where we get, if we have any granulation or any other surprises with the swatches drying out. I just flicked some water at it, so I try to clean that up a bit, but so far so good though. I'm pretty impressed with what they've got going on. Alright, just coming back in to wrap up this review. I just did this painting with my La Petite Aquarelle watercolors, the new version, and I like them. I actually think they're kind of settling out, kind of like the original set did, so I think it was just the fact that they were new that they didn't look all gooey and smooth and shiny, because they definitely are starting to look a little bit more like that now. I found that the colors were really good matches. I feel like that blue, the turquoise there was a little bit different. The Payne's Gray was a little bit different. You can see it better right there because I re-swatched it. But other than that, I really didn't notice the difference between the old formulation and the new formulation. That cobalt blue color, those two are just slightly different. I feel like the old version is a little bit more green and the new version is a little bit more violet. But other than that, I think they're still good paints. I don't think you need to worry if you want to purchase those. And just working with them, they are really nice to work with. If you get thick with the paint, which is something I noticed with the other one, like if you get thick in one go, you're not like layering, but you're really just putting it on thick, you will get a little bit of shininess. And I'm noticing that in both the old and the new formulas. See, this is the new one. You can see that shine. I'm just going to, hopefully, if I hold it, I don't know if this will show up on camera or not. Let me move my light, maybe. I don't know if you can see it. But I feel like the old and the new version had equivalent amounts of shine to it, basically. But I like it. I think it's a good buy. And I could not find the 36 set on the Sennelier website. Couldn't find it anywhere online, except for the Amazon listing, which is sold out where I bought it. So I don't know what the story with these is. The packaging definitely looks legit. Let me grab that for you so we can really take a good look at it. I did untape it, so I mean, yeah, it does appear to be, it's made in France. Quality-wise, I would say these are very similar to Van Gogh. You know, maybe a little bit softer than Van Gogh. They are, I'd say, a step above Cotman. Yeah, I'd say they're a solid legacy brand student grade watercolor. I don't have any qualms with it at all. They were lovely to paint with. The background was really good. I actually took a time lapse of doing this, and a couple times I turned the camera off and I thought I was turning it on, so I'm gonna have to look through that footage and hopefully I have enough to piece together a demo for you. But very easy to work with. I have no issue at all recommending these, and hopefully they'll come back in stock. And I have not tried the tube versions of the La Petite Aquarelle, so I don't know if the tube versions are good, but if you've used the tube versions of the student grade, just let me know. I like the tube versions of the professional grade and the pan versions of the professional grade, so I would assume the tube versions would be pretty good as well, but they seem to be more expensive for what you get, so that's why I've just stuck with the pans. And they don't seem to be terribly, I mean, they definitely wear down because they're a soft paint and they're very, you know, they pick up really easily, but I don't think they wear down extraordinarily fast or anything. I just think they're delightful. Now I'm just going to tip my sketchbook here. This was swatched on cellulose student grade inexpensive paper, and this was painted in my Arches sketchbook. So I'm just holding it up so you can see any sort of texture. I'm seeing like on the feather, I can see just like maybe a little bit of sheen where I've layered it, but I also put a little colored pencil on there, so I think that might be what I'm seeing as well. But yeah, if you put it on real thick, you're going to see a bit of a sheen, but I have no qualms. I think this is great, and I'm so glad that I didn't notice a problem with the quality. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention, look at this palette. I didn't do anything to treat the mixing area, and there's no beading. Look, there's a big wet puddle there. No beading up whatsoever. There's a big, thick band on the bottom here for you to slide your hands through if you want to hold it while you're painting in plein air. If that's important to you. It's actually much more comfortable. I can show you on my old palette here. It is much more comfortable than the thumb ring, in my opinion. So, you know, it's nice and sturdy, especially with a bigger palette. And this palette is very lightweight, being plastic and not metal. So, I mean, obviously, You may prefer a metal palette, you may prefer this, you may prefer that. And hopefully these reviews will help you get what you like. I don't want you to get what you're not going to use. I want you to know what's out there so you can choose the best palette for you. And if you live somewhere where this is an affordable option, then I would definitely say go for it. Can you see how kind of gooey and melty they are there? I see them starting to get that way. So I think it's just they needed to be used more to get this kind of finish on them like this one has. So yeah, they still get 2 thumbs up from this chickie. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up before you go. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye.